Morning, everybody. This is Thursday, October 22nd, and this is the Hawkeye session. Trading the foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in the foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objective, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. This is a live trading room. It is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendations will be provided. Any trade taken during this live session is not a recommendation or a suggestion that you should also do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Do not trade money you cannot afford to lose. And before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies rules for entry, exits, targets, and risk management. And having said that, let's go to the charts. And right now I'm looking at, the last alert we had that I saw was at 1 o'clock this morning. So we're going to have to improvise with our session here today. And we were looking at some trades that are possible setups. And I'm seeing one right now as we speak with the Aussie US dollar breaking out. We had an alert on the Aussie. Let's see where it was. It was at 1 o'clock. I think it was that was the US yen was the last alert that we had. We had some nice trades on the Aussie last night. Let's go ahead and take a look at the last one let's look at the Aussie here right now. Here's what we have on the Aussie. And are we showing my chart? Can you see my chart?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I was sharing or not. So again, what we're doing more and more, and I think it's more critical, is to find out where the trends are. What channel is the trading into? And what we're looking at is we're going to a little bit higher time frame sometimes if need be, and most of the time we do. And you kind of like start with a 30-minute or a 1-hour chart and look and see where the waves are. Where can I find out where there's some peaks that are aligning up to where I can catch a trend line? The trend line's validated. Once I get an anchor, a hit, the third hit on the trend line validates the trend line, whether it breaks to the upside or whether it breaks to the downside. It doesn't really matter. But wherever it hits, that validates this trend, that this trend has some significance. And so I look on an upper line, I look at a lower line. Now the lower line on this one, there isn't really much. This is a very steep move. We had a steep move. It came back down, consolidated around the area, and now I'm looking at a break back to the upside. So now what I do, even though we don't have an alert right now, but I'm just going to take these alerts off right now because they're from yesterday. But what we did was we have a trend. We had the alert last night. It came down. We had a strong move down, came back, tested it. And I'm looking at this as being somewhat of a reversal area right here because we had a strong move. We had a move up an A, B, C type of a pattern here, and it formed a wedge. And right now I'm looking for this thing to break to the upside. If I look at my 15-minute chart, you'll see that our moving averages, our RSI was down here low, it came back up, and now they're both pointing in the up direction. The 8 is coming out of the 40-60 range. We had a strong move down. We had formed a little bit of a wedge, which gave us a little bit of our ABC, gave us the top of the wedge. We're getting the breakout. All of our moving averages on the 15-minute, we had a bounce off of the 30-minute 62. We have the crossovers of right now, all three of these moving averages are all congested right here. And that's a good sign so we have the green, the yellow, and the orange. They're all pretty much right in the same, they're within a pip of each other. So there's a strong crossover there. If I go to my 5-minute chart, you'll see that we had the break of the wedge. You'll see that we had the bounce off the 30-minute 62. We're getting the five and the yellow. Right now, all three moving averages are in the right direction. I've got strength of the Aussie to the upside. And if I go to my 1-minute chart, we have the break. We have all three moving averages. There's the green, the yellow, and the white. Green's the 5 minute, the 13, 62. You can see that the green is pulling away from the yellow, so it's starting to get that little bit of a gap in there. Everything's bounced off, everything come in. So right now we may get a little bit of a retest, but this is this whole area in this wedge from the break to the bottom that's your 7 pips. So you have a good 7 pips stop to the other side of the wedge. So if it breaks to the other side, you'll be out of the trade. I did take this thing long on this breakout. It came back out and it's retesting the top of the wedge. It's retesting the 13 moving average. You still have the 62 coming up. Still have the bounce off the 62. So if I were to take this, and you can probably, and I'm going to go ahead and take this one in the demo here. I'm going to do a buy limit of, we're going to go 60. See where I can do the buy limit here. And this should be the, let's see where it is. Let's go buy market. I'm just going to go market buy right in here. And then I'm going to set my stop, make sure my targets are set. So I'm going to take profit, stop loss. My target's 14, my stop's going to be 7. Modify that. Here's my stop. I'm going to move my stop below on the other side of this wedge, below this little candle right here. That's my stop, and my target's going to be up here. And you can see that there's the upper wedge, which has not been yet confirmed, but this was the trend line that we're actually looking for a possible target. And if I look at my Fibonacci lines on this, I can see where I'm right around the blue zone. And here's our 7 pip range to the upside. So here's my first 7 pips, and here's my 14 pips up around this area. So this is a target zone. We have a nice little pivot high right here going across. And so right in this area, I'd be looking at as a possible target area.
So I did a setup on UJ and it broke the bottom of my trend line. So I'm just waiting for it to close properly, and then I can. Are you in that trade?
I am in this trade, yes.
Okay. So let's see if I can get a nice potential entry here.
Now, we don't know if it's going to take off or not, but right now everything's looking good to the upside. We're showing some strength, and we'll see what happens. It's either going to work or it won't. I do like this trade, and we'll see.
I think I need more screens.
I know I do.
What are you running on? You still got your 2?
I have 1.
Oh, yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, it is.
When I added my extra screen, I got it at Costco. I got 2 screens from Costco for $300, and they're
that's not bad.
Yeah, it was good. They're a 24-inch, so.
Okay.
So right now this one's working out. We had a nice little. We broke the trend line, came back, retested it. That's our pass, and it checked the trend line. Now it's coming up to retest. It came right out of our blue fib line. Put my fib lines back on here. You can see here's my blue fib line. It's coming. It passed it, checked it. Now it's kind of struggling a little bit over this one right at the moment, but we'll see what happens. If it can pass and close out above that, if it comes back, if this fib line holds and it comes back into the wedge, I'll probably get out of this trade and see what happens. Then it might just been a head fake. But right now it looks to me like it's still a pretty good possibility of a trade here.
Hey, Al?
Yes.
Okay, it's gone now. On my screen, I saw like several lines vertical.
Oh, yeah, what happens with this fib tool is that when it goes and hits that fib line, it just has some of those vertical lines. All you'd have to do is just turn it off, and it goes.
Yeah, like right.
As long as, when it's hanging around, right when it's hanging around, it will go away once it clears that line. But it's not really something that we like, but it's something it's almost like it's a little bit of a visual warning that, hey, you're coming by that's the fib line's on, and it's coming by that fib line, and it's giving you a reason to take a look at it.
So what's your target on Aussie USD?
The first target is at 71.12.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
And that's based on this area right over here. We had this nice little move down at base.
Yeah.
It went down further, and now we're coming back up. We're retesting this area, and if it can get up, this will be the first little bounce, possibly right here at the 7109 area, and the next one is the this is a drop. It based here, and it drops some more, and now we're coming up to where we're going to be seeing if it's going to be retesting. It's not quite through this little base here. I'll go and mark that just for a reference.
Yeah, that's the top of my 30-minute wedge.
So
it's actually 7111. All right.
So if it can break through this and comes back and breaks through this 62, I'll exit this trade.
Mm.
So we're going to make this our supply zone.
So there's a potential trade setup for USD CAD, and it would maybe be a sell. So it's at the top of my 30-minute wedge.
And we'll see what I'm looking at 107.02. It did break the 107 area. It's coming up. If it comes back to the 107, I said if it comes back to the opposite on the other side of this wedge, I'd be looking at maybe this. Maybe this is a fake out. But I thought it was worth taking the shot at it. And we'll see. And so you were saying you're looking at which was the next one? US.
I'm looking
US
at a couple. I'm looking at a couple. I'm going really fast. So I'm looking at USD CAD for a potential break. Right now, it's about to break the 30-minute wedge that I made. And then I've got alerts on USD JPY for a break to the downside. Right now, it broke through the bottom of the wedge. I'm just trying to see what's if that's just me that I don't trust it yet because it's not a wedge that I would trade yet. So I'm going to adjust it again. It's only got 2 bounces on the bottom trend line, and it's not enough to qualify it. So I'm going to push that one down, throw another alert on it, and see how it goes. I've got alerts on a lot of time frames.
We have another one to look at.
Yeah, good.
This is a USD CAD. Now what we can do is while we're waiting for some of these alerts to show up, what you can do is go to our higher time frame and just start drawing the trend lines on the higher time frame so we know where so if we do get the alert, we'll know how close we are to our trend. So I'm going to go to the USD CAD, it's 15-minute chart. I'm going to take my moving averages off.
Yeah, just to clean it up.
I just look at price action, and I'm going to see where the price action is. And I can see where there's a nice little, here's the top, here's a retest. Now, this was probably going to have already been breached to the downside, to the upside. So I'm looking to see where my significant trends are. I like this one right here. It looks like that's already been breached, but we may have another, we have kind of like a double little bottom here. Let's go to a little bit higher time frame and see if there's anything else that we can maybe take a look at. Now, I do like this one right here, from here to there. So I'm going to use that one for my one trend line, the upper one. I'm going to go from there to the hit here, to the hit. I would say this trend has been confirmed.
I took GU, by the way, for short.
GU for a short.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let's go
and everything else is going to start moving really fast. So UJ, I'm actually taking that long already.
Take this off.
And then we can revisit it later.
This is one of my earlier sketches on that one. Let's just clear everything off of this one.
Yeah.
So the British US is what you're talking about. You took.
Yeah, and I took UJ long. So I took a GBP USD short, and I took US the other one long. So
okay, here's what I'm looking at for a trend line. Here's a low. There's a high. This is pretty much an equal low. There's a This is where there was a wedge here, and then now it's breaking up to the upside. So this one, you have an anchor and you have a hit. We don't have confirmation on this trend line. We have a low, a high, a higher low, and then we had the break. And we're going to be looking for a trend line from, I'll be looking at from this one to this one. Again, this channel is not confirmed at this point to me. This channel is not confirmed. Now we do have, go to our 15-minute chart, and we're going to see where we do have a trend going from here, coming on down off of this up move. So this is a, see if we can spread this out a little bit and see if we can get a trend going on. So we have from this area to here, and we have, so we have this move. Here's a rally, base, rally. It's coming back to retest this area right in here. So I'm going to mark that. Look, there's a potential demand zone that's going to get through this area. And we don't know if it will or not. And then we're going to be looking at, let's see here. Then we have strong move up, very gradual sloping down. I'm not seeing what Matt's seeing on this right now, but there's a nice little drop here. Here's a little bit of a wedge right into a demand zone. So this could be, did you take this long or short, Matt?
What, on UJ?
The British US.
I took the short.
Short, okay.
So I might get stopped out.
So what he's looking at from this move right here. And I'm looking at this move right now. This is not confirmed either. So we don't, right now don't have a whole lot that's confirmed. Now we have a, if we look at this pivot here, and we look and see where, if we can connect this line with something up there, we'll see if there's a possible hit up on that one. So I'm going to connect this with that move. That's not, I don't like that one. Maybe we can get a little bit closer if I go to this one. We're trying to find something that will maybe give a qualification to this trend right here. And see, if I look at it, here's an anchor, here's a hit. Here's the third hit. Now the question is whether or not it's going to break to the, it bounced. So here's actually a confirmation of a third trend line, but we have a wedge. So right now, this is a valid, it bounced off of that. Now the question is, will this, at this area, are we going to get a break back up to the upside, or is it, if it breaks to the downside, it's going to blow through this demand zone? And that's where we're at right now. This is in a zone of decision. So I'm going to say this is a confirmed hit. We have, and here's the anchor, here's a hit, here's our third hit. I'm going to confirm this line. Now we didn't get any alerts on this, so this is all free drawn. We're just free drawing this. And this is the analysis that I do. Even when we get the alert, all the alerts are saying is, hey, there's something happening here. What it is not exactly clear, but let's check it out. So here it is. So here's our third hit. We just got the third hit of this. This validates this trend line. So it's either going to, and we have a wedge. Now the question is this wedge going to break to the upside and retest this? Or is it going to break to the downside and come all the way down here and maybe retest this one? Or where the hit, I would be looking at where the first hit was, which would be right down here. I think you'll be looking at, if it breaks, then I think you could be looking at a hit. The next significant area that's going to be looking at would be down here. You have this one up here. This is a significant zone as well. This is all part of this up move. Here's where it was basing. You'll probably have to get through this area a little bit on the way down. So if it breaks here, this could be an area where it could bounce. Check our moving averages. And so we go to the moving averages and, oh, where are we at here? Moving average, there we go. Right now we're looking at, we have the 62, 13, but now here's the 30-minute. Here's the 30-minute. If we get a clean break on that 30-minute 62, we may get a break to the downside. Let's see. I just got stopped out on that Aussie trade.
Yeah, the US is, I got an alert on it. And
let's see,
it's
what
off
is
to the races.
the Aussie US is off the races on the other side.
Yeah, and this one. So my UJ is off to the races, and my GBP USD needs to turn around. But we'll see what happens.
So right now we still have a little bit of so we're on a 15-minute chart. Let's take a look at what this is going to look like on the lower time frame. So we have all of our major trend lines drawn. Now we're going to draw the wedge and see how that's going to look on the lower time frame.
My stop losses are not entering properly. I think I'm having a broker problem. I've tried it 3 times, and it's not good to trade without a stop loss. That's gambling.
One thing about this wedge right here is that here's our hit. Here's our first hit. Now the question is, if this thing breaks, this is our wedge right in this area. So again, this is freehand drawn. This isn't any alert that we're getting. This is just what we're seeing with the charts as we go through the different, as you go through the different pairs. And here was the in fact, I'm going to take it on up to this B up to here. You see we have a trend line. Here's the B, here's the anchor, here's the hit, here's the retest of the D right there. And now we have the A and C, where this is the break that we're looking at. Now the question is, do we have enough room down to this level? And is there enough strength? That's what.
Yeah, there will be.
That's this is on British. Yeah, that's 25 pips. So there's enough room to the downside on that.
My target on GU for a short. Excuse me. I'm looking. Oh, this is too big. I can't reasonably accept that as a target. But my first target is going to be 30.79. Excuse me.
30.79. So that's going to be. Let me see if there's a fib line there. There's a green fib line right here at 30.79. That's where the fib line is.
That's my first target. My second target is going to be 30.56.
30.56. Then this 56 is a good number. That's all the way down here.
Mm-hmm. So that's my second target.
So this could be a pretty strong move.
Yeah, it's going. And then for UJ, my target is going to be 104.74.
Okay, we're just going to take one of these at a time here. So we've got this one going. We had the break, nice break here, came back, retested, and now we're heading on down. All the RSIs are down. The strength is on the dollar. Dollar is the second currency of the pair. We've got strength to the downside. This looks like this could be a nice little trade.
Is that 2 for 2 today, Al? I don't want to count my hens before they hatch, but we'll see what happens.
Now we're going to look and see where our 7 pip target is. I didn't take it on the chart here.
No? Okay.
But let me see. But let's just say we got the break. Say we got in at this candle, got the retest, and say we got in at this candle right here. So let's just do a. So for say we got in at the second candle, close at the end at the second retrace, and we got 7 pips. We're looking at 7 pip default. Oops, what happened here? Template default. There we go. So first target 7 pips. It depends on where your entry was. If you did get the entry, we're probably looking at. Well, let's just say right about here. Stop is up above the 1 minute 62. And let's put a little stick. Let's do the stick on this thing. So I'm going to be looking at possibly. Let's see. Let's see, which wedge are we looking at here? Here's the AB. This is a rather large wedge here. Let me see. We have something a little bit narrower. I'd say probably looking at this area right in here. We'll do our stick. And I'm going to put it down from low to the D. Move it down from the break. Now the break is to the break of the wedge. The measurement is the break of the wedge, not from where your entry was. The entry is subjective for where you're going to get in. This would be the target right here. So if we could get, if this stick holds true, I'd be looking at possibly a possible 14 pip target on this.
Yeah, it'll reach the stick about 75% of the time.
And we'll see.
After you have a nice clean break of the wedge.
And this is the British US that we're looking at here.
Yeah. I've got very tight stop losses on these. It's actually just the other side of my wedges that I've drawn. Some of them, depending on stop loss, it might be anywhere from 7 pips to 12. And I just put, 2% of my, I'm only risking 2% of my trading account for any one trade at any one time. That way, if I get stopped out, it's not so bad, but I will probably manually take myself out if it goes back into the wedge one more time.
And we wait.
Yeah.
Any
Let's go
questions?
see what the
Any
US
questions
looks
so
like.
far? And right now, if we look at our moving averages, we have our 30-minute 62, which it broke through 30-minute 62, came up, retested it. Both 62s are right on top of each other, the 1 minute and the 30-minute. We had the break of the wedge coming back up, and it's retesting. Now we are looking to see. Actually, we're getting a secondary wedge right after the break. This is pretty much what happened with the Aussie last night. We had a major break, came back in, formed another wedge right below it, and then it went to proceed to break again. So we've got another little wedge right here.
So now it's going to challenge the bottom of my wedge. Well, on the GU. Their GU and UJ are acting exactly the opposite. So it looks like maybe I was double dipping, because whatever happens here, I'm going to get either in profit on 2 trades or stopped out on 2 trades. Not wise.
Came up, retested the top of the wedge.
There's a 30-minute 62 there, Al.
That's what I said.
GU.
As I said, there's a 30-minute and a 1 minute 62, all right on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them were just tested. Again. The top of the wedge was just tested again. Move this over here. That confirms here's an anchor hit. This top of the wedge has been confirmed. Look at the bounce, and now we're looking to see a break to the bottom. When you get a break through the bottom, then again the target's good. We have a demand zone down here, but that's more than 7 pips out of the way.
Yeah, it looks like my GU is premature. I needed to put my stop loss at 31.07. What did I put it at? 31.06. It's amazing what 1 pip will do.
1 pip can be the difference between being stopped out and hitting your target.
It can.
With using such tight parameters that we use, it happens quite often where you come very close to your stop but don't get stopped out, or you get very close to your target and don't get your target filled. The spreads can make a lot of difference. Right now, you have almost a 2-pip spread on the British pound.
Yeah, GU's working really hard. Really hard.
The Aussie's looking like it wants to go short as well. Those who got stopped out of the Aussie, you may want to look at that as a possible go short on it. Let's take a look at the Aussie here. Here's where we had it broke to the top, gave us our head fake, and now it broke out of the bottom. And it's looking like it could come down and retest this major trend line, which is right down here at the 70.92 area.
Euro US and Kiwi US breaking my 15-minute trend line. So we're going to have some movement in all the currency pairs right now.
Yep. And it's coming in it's 8:30.
Yeah.
8:30 to 9 o'clock. We oftentimes we get between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. We get a lot of our movement going into that time.
Yeah. GU's on its way down. And both my trades are in profit right now, but not by much. So let's see. It was just waiting for the 30-minute candle to close, Al.
Is that what it was? Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it was lollygagging around where we thought it was going to break where it was supposed to, but so I'm going to wait on these two trades. And then there's no worries if you didn't get in yet. There's going to be pullbacks. There's going to be opportunities to get in to another trade later on. So
this was a break on this British pound. This was the break of the wedge. It broke it. Now it's coming back up to retest. This can retest this wedge, or it could retest the higher time frame one. Either one should hold. And just look at the price action to make sure here we have a high, a low, a lower high, lower low, lower. If this blue candle doesn't break the top of this red candle, then we have a lower high again. We'll see what happens with this. Right now, it's pretty much just retesting this little area right in here. We have this red candle and this blue candle. And you can see this little zone right here. This is creating a supply zone right here.
And this is why we like IRIS, because, well, let's just say it's a lot better when the AI decides to write a wedge than us humans for right now.
But what's nice about this is that when we get all the IRIS alert, all of the IRIS alerts don't always work. And what we're doing right now is teaching you how to distinguish when you get the alert. All the IRIS is saying, hey, there's something happening. Take a look at it and see if it fits your trade criteria. We just found this trade criteria on our own without waiting for the IRIS alert. And so, I mean, right now this is looking pretty good. You have it. You see where it came up, made a high. There's a little bit of base. Here's a drop. Here's a little bit of a base. Here's a red candle, blue candle, two red candles. Now it's coming up to retest this. But we had the break. We had this little trend of these blue lines coming up, these blue candles coming up. We got this candle broke the bottom of the blue candle and also broke the bottom of the second one and also pretty much hit the wick of this second to the last blue candle, came back, made a new low, broke through here. Now the question is this going to have enough push to break the C line with a close? So right in this area, right in here is a area that we need to be aware of and see if we can. I'd like to see let's see, did we get a close below that? We often talk about the close below the C. We got a wick down. it wicked down below, but it didn't close below. I want to see the close below. We also have the A, which is, this is a relatively narrow wedge, but if we can get this is at 3087. Once it can clear 3084, this is going to be our range that we're actually, this is a range that has to get through from here to where it broke the wedge. This is the range it has to get through. Once it breaks through the bottom here, then we should be home free to go further down.
Oh, let's find out. My entries on these trades weren't very good. They were pretty early because we didn't really have a nice alert. So I should have held back for a better spot, but let's see what happens.
Let's see, from this break to the bottom of the A. So this is a little bit of a concern right here, the fact I wasn't able to break through that. And again, if you use your, if you have any questions or comments, we're asking everybody to use the question answer box, and we're trying to get used to using that more and more. So if you have a question, put it in the question answer box.
Yeah, that way it doesn't get lost. All right, that's going to be the close of a 10-minute candle. That's gross. That's my manual stop loss. And the other side of the wedge.
Yeah, I'm out of this trade. Not that I ever got into it over here, but I'm still looking at this thing breaking to the upside.
And
Let's see what our strength meter is. Right now on our strength meters, we have the British pound is now flipped over to being strong on the 5, the 1. And let's see where it is. And we're still pretty much fighting for second and third place on the 15-minute chart.
Lots of head fakes. Lots of funky stuff going on now.
And that's why you have to be aware of where the higher time frames are to try and ideally you're almost better off just wait until it gets to an extreme of your wedges of your higher time frame areas. Look for when it gets near the like on this 15-minute. Here's a good example. When it gets up to the right now we're in the middle of this whole range right here of the non-confirmed on the 1 hour trend, non-confirmed on the 1 hour bottom trend. And we don't, the only thing we have confirmation on is we had the confirmation of the break of this secondary trend line. The problem with this one is that we had a bounce, a break, and then we had a little fake out. So right now, this area right here is going to be an area of indecision. Once this to the side, if it breaks to the, this breaks, I'd like to see it break and confirm the top of this to head on up to the, because this is really a 15-minute range. So right now it's just trade in a very tight area right now.
Yeah, tight. Tight is a good way to describe it. Let's put it that way. I'm probably going to close out one of my positions if it breaks even, so that I can only focus on one trade. I think I bit off a little bit more than I could chew this morning. When you get solid days and you make a significant amount and then you think you're invincible, that is a problem because that's your ego.
I'd like to see it clear the 30 on the moving average. I'd like to see it clear these. If it goes to the downside, right now we have all of our moving averages are pretty much consolidated inside this area. If I just take all this stuff off, our moving average, we're getting right now, this is a strong consolidation area. We got the 30-minute 62, you've got the 15-62, all sandwiched in together. And so you really have an area from up here down the bottom, flat bottom with a trend. And so right now it's still pretty much hanging inside of this range between here and here, where this is going back and forth over the 62 and with a flat bottom. So now if it can break this area cleanly, then you should be okay. But it also has to, I'd like to see it break the close above to the upside. I'd like to see it close above the 62 with confirmation with the other time frames, with the 5 and the 1. Yeah, we're about 15 minutes before the
9 o'clock hour.
9 o'clock hour.
Well, I'll tell you, I got my stop losses in place, so just in case something happens.
Good man.
But this is the wedge I'm looking at that needs to break out of this area right in here.
That's why we like the computerized systems. They have specific ratios built in, and they find, they find the better wedges, better than generally what we can draw by our own self. And I don't know how they do it, but it just, I like the AIRIS wedges better than the ones that I draw myself. They just seem to be higher probability. It's really struggling, Al.
Mhm.
It's really struggling. And there's no problem adjusting your trend lines. Like, I adjust them all the time. So if I find that it's no longer valid and I need to adjust it a little bit, then I'll adjust it. We're probably oh, that's gross. Saying we're probably looking for a pretty nice break, but it's still consolidating. Both the trades are just making let's see.
And here's coming, we're getting to the retest of this wedge from here.
Yeah, that's the bounce I was looking for. And I'm going to exercise quite a bit of discipline. If it breaks that, then I will probably be getting out of there. But it has to break it pretty dominantly. My stop loss is still at 31.10. Okay, so it's breaking through the top a little bit.
I think it's going to break significantly.
Yep. And 31.08.
Put my D over here to the top of this, or actually move this over there and see.
That means
double check.
That means my UJ is in trouble too then. Yep. So that one's out. And
redraw this.
That means UJ is going to go short then.
So I'm looking at here's anchor, high, low. There's low. There's the high. There's a equal low. And here's the anchor hit. Here's the break. Here's a third hit. What I like about this one going to the upside, I like it. We had a strong move down. We came up, we had an A, B, C correction, came back, retested the bottom, and now it's breaking through this trend line. Now the question is, can it break through the D and can it break through the B to keep on going up? We have all the connection. We crossed over. Right now, it's been fighting over and back and forth over this 30 minutes 62. All these things consolidated. Now we've got the break to the upside. It's got to clear through the D. And it's got to clear through the B. And once it can clear through that, now the question is, will you get enough of a punch to, if it comes up here and gets into this zone, it could probably do a little bit of retest, but by that time we should have another trend developing or a moving average to be able to use for support. And we're not surprised to have to come up here, retest this area, and then come back down, retest the trend line. Now keep in mind that this trend line is sloping away, so we'd like to see another little wedge form. Once it breaks up here, have another little rally basing with a wedge or just a sideways motion, and then another next push up. And it looks like the Aussie should be doing about the same thing. we get any more alerts yet by chance? Not yet.
Yet. I should have never. All right, so that one stopped me out. A while back, anyway.
Came up to our first target area here. Let's draw a wedge on this, or a stick on this. Let's see, where am I going to do this? Here was the third hit. Move this out of the way, come down here. Here was the break of the wedge, so this is the area that I'd be looking at for a stick, for a target zone. I'm going to be looking from, I'm going to use the wedge for my reference, take it up to the, and then we're going to take this toward the breakout. So this could be the target all the way up in here, and see if there's anything up here that we can maybe put our hats on. There's a fib line right in here. So I'd be saying that this is a very possible target right up in this area. Maybe that might be a little bit of, that might be, see, I may shorten that up just a little bit, use the CD area here. That looks a little bit aggressive to me. There, that's right to the fib line. I like that one better. And we'll see if it keeps on going. This thing pulls back. It looks to me it should just be pulling back and retesting the, I would say be retesting this area, this point right here where the breakout was. Came up, it did break above this level right here, coming back to retest. Bounced right off of this fib line. So right now we have our fib lines between, these are probably about 7 pips apart. So you may have had your first target. If you rotate it on the breakout up to here, you should have had your at least 9 pips. That would be your 7 pip target. That would be your first target goal. And see if it comes back and gives you another shot to go up even nip into the next one. Here's a pullback. See if we get a hook. If we get a hook, this would be the end of the pullback, and it could come up. If it makes a If it comes up higher price and if it comes up with a higher price and a lower strength on the RSI, you might have a divergence. Right now, everything's still holding.
Al, did we have any news today?
There was a little bit of news earlier today, nothing too significant. There was a red folder on the British at 5:25 this morning, which is well past us. Other than that, it's all pretty quiet for the day. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, my trend lines are getting sliced left, right, and center like they're not even there. So
I still think this is just a retest. I still think it has some room to the upside.
for what, GU?
GU
Yeah.
and also the Aussie as well. Here's a supply zone. See if that came up. It did break, came right up into that area. And we'll see what it does. A nice little move off the 30, that's 30 minutes 62. Still bouncing off the 1 minute 62. And we'll see what happens in this little area right now. It did come back into this wedge. We'll see if it has room to go to the other side.
Yeah, that 30 minutes 62 is just sitting there. It's saying, hey, come tag me. (30 minutes 62 is flat, so it's not the great time to be trading. At least that's what I've noticed, is when it's flat. Yeah, you're right. It's that
31.21. If we can get a nice clean break above 30 on the British, we can get a nice break above the 31.21 area, which is this one, which is the top where the B is. We can get a nice break above that. This thing could, it could be somewhat range bound until it breaks up to the top of that.
it's struggling to get back up there.
Am I sharing my screen? I should
Yeah.
be.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the charts just looked a little bit off. I should have put down the toys and not and not played. Something just looked a little bit different than usual today. Maybe it's all those big moves that we had yesterday.
Well, it's always every day gives you new experience. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
A lot of times too, you get one good day, and then the next day it sort of starts consolidating, and the next day it gets strong again. The next day it consolidates.
Yeah.
And that's the way the game gets played sometimes. I'm still looking at this as being a long. I don't see this thing.
What's the strength meters tell you?
The strength meters is showing pretty much flat 2-0 on the 1 minute,
Hmm.
and then on the showing a little bit of strength slightly favoring the British upside. 5 minutes got a nice. It had just 4, now just came back to 3-0, 2-0. So it's still showing that the dollar is the weakest on pretty much all three of these levels, which means it's the weakest in all the other currency pairs as well.
Yeah.
So with dollar weakness, they should give the strength to the upside on both the British pound, the Aussie, well, and everything else basically. The stock market's probably going to go down today with that. Usually, when the dollar is showing weak on the currencies, the stock market tends to go to the actually goes to the upside actually.
No, the other side, yeah. Let's see.
Let's see what this 5 minutes. Look at just note our 5 minute chart here and just kind of keeps the emotions out of it a little bit. We had nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 candles on the 5 minute chart were all blue. So that means we had 5 consecutive upticks on the 5 minute chart. One red candle. So we have a little bit of a rally. Right now it's basing. It might get another rally coming up. Yeah, there's nothing conclusive on a lot of things here right now. How about the UJ? Nothing conclusive there either. I say the U.S. Japanese yen is probably going to come down a little bit. Retest. I'm going to guess it's going to be retesting the 104.50 level, and then may help make a decision at that point. And we have about another 23 minutes before the market opens, so that's we may get another move here pretty soon.
What time we go until today, Al?
We should be going till, I think we can go to about 10:15, about 10 o'clock. We'll probably go to about 10 o'clock today.
Okay.
10 minutes, about quarter to 10, 10 o'clock. And again, if anybody has any questions or comments, or now's a good time to be asking them. We're still waiting for some alerts. We're just going through some technical analysis, some wedge designs, draws on basic web theory, wedge theory, and learning how to draw trend lines, which ones are valuable, which ones aren't, which ones have support, which ones don't. And I said, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask the question. Raise your hand and we can turn your mic on, or you can type a question in the question answer box.
Looks like the Aussie US is trying to break to the upside again.
Yep.
It's just going whipsaw from one side to the other.
It has strength to the upside. It's showing the strength to the upside. And make sure if anybody that has got the indicators or needs the indicators, let us know. And make sure that when you get the RCS tool, make sure it's set on the 14 period, not the 200. We did make the change in the software, but the versions that you may have, the new version should be getting the 200, the 14 in there, but or the old version, the default was 200, but we changed that default to a 14. But you may have to make that change until you reload the software. And it's coming right up into the first area I'm looking at to try and get through. Actually, it's coming to retest this 3111 area. And let's see where our fibs are on this one. We can see where it's coming up into our green fib line. And the next line is going to be up here at 3134. And that's pretty much where I would be looking. Right, I'm looking at right in the middle between these two. So if I draw my zone here, if I can find it, I'd be looking for it to come up from here to, here's the green fib line right there. And this is the area I'd be looking at, a target area, which is right at the top of where my wedge stick is. So I'm looking at this area right in here for a target zone.
You're saying U.S. is weak, right?
U.S. is weak, yes.
Right.
Nothing's moving real fast right now. It's been all relatively quiet.
Pretty painful.
On the let's see, what is the we're looking at for the last let's see, for the last hour anyway, it hasn't moved more than 30 pips in the last hour. That's roughly 6 pips every 5 minutes.
It's been a while since we've seen paint dry like this. This is painful.
We had more action last night at 9:30 than we are this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday we were getting alerts all over the place, and today and that seems to be the key, is that one day you get alerts are happening but that's when the markets are moving. But when they move, it's moving. What's happening is the dollar is showing a lot of volatility, and everything's responding to the dollar. And so when one gets real volatile and you get a lot of volume going into it, that's what drives these things. But right now, it's like everything's just sort of on hold.
Like feast or famine.
It is feast or famine. And when you're getting alert after alert after alert, it's usually all U.S. based, and this is a matter of question of which pair you like to trade with it or against it, because it's hard to catch them all and trade them all with the same level of attention that you need to give to the trades.
Yeah, then you end up like me with like three trades open, and you're trying to wrap your head around what makes more sense, and you end up starting taking a little bit of loss. So
I was able to get my 9 pips out of this breakout right here.
oh, that's awesome. Good.
Here we have right there 3104 to 3111. Actually, no more than that, 3115. So there's 11 pip move, 2 pip spread. I was able to get that. Take a little bit of profit. Now you see it's coming right up to the green line. Now it's going to come back and probably retest this area in here. So here's from this green. So basically, a lot of the movement, it was between the blue and the green. This group, and if you're looking at most of the action, is going to be right here in the middle. If I draw my fib line between my blue zone and my green zone, and so I can still find that blue green. And let's reverse this. So here's my green line, my green fib line. Here's my blue fib line, and they're right now in the upper third. Once it can break through this one, then it's going to be heading on up to the next one, which is going to be green red. And I got to reverse that again.
And if
This,
this
this little
doesn't
yellow,
work,
this little yellow area is where it can't quite make up its mind.
yeah. And if this
But
doesn't
here's-
work, then
But
I'm
here's a nice little target right in here.
probably going to be done for the day.
Everything's still showing relatively strong on the British pound. We got a 5 on the British pound right now on the 5-minute chart. We're getting a nice little push on the Aussie US. It still has a little bit of a push to the upside on this British pound. This looks like it's trying to, I mean, this is still our target area. You can hear it. Here's our stick. Here's our target still. It's just taking a while to get up there.
Matt,
Excuse me.
Shecky's in the room. He said he sent you a Facebook message.
Oh, I saw your message. Give me. I haven't had a chance to check that out. Let me see what's up. Hey, good to hear from you again. It's been a while since I've seen you. I met Shecky while I was out in was it Atlanta? Yeah, Atlanta. We went out for breakfast one morning. It was really good. It's a good time. Super guy. A larger than life personality. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And this British pound is starting to keep on inching its way to our target zone. I think it's going to be a slow grind, but I think it's going to get there.
I'm going to let it go maybe another 2 pips, and then I will be done trading for the day.
Like I said, this is a live room. We are live means you sit and do a lot of watch grass grow.
It's like
Yes,
molasses.
and just basically, especially when the markets are working slow. A lot of times we're in and out within 20 minutes, but sometimes it just takes a little bit longer for things to develop. We're getting close to the market open, so we're going to start getting a little bit more life in this thing. So it looks like it's going to come up and hit that target. You see all these RSIs are coming up and starting to get into the extreme. We got the 8 coming up into the 75. We got the 3-period RSI coming up into the 91. Right now it's at 85. The excuse me, it's at 87. The 8-period is at 68. And so it's getting there. Once it gets up to the top, we could probably expect maybe hit the target and then maybe expect a little bit of a retrace. And then it's a question of how much you want to keep working at it or how much you want to move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's done. All right. We'll count this one as a losing day. Well,
We
for
had
me
a really
anyway.
good day yesterday, so
Yeah, exactly.
One offsets the other. The key is to have more winning days that are winning more than the losing days are losing. And I think what we can expect this thing to do is I think it's going to get up here, maybe break this area, go up a little bit higher, and then come back and maybe retest the bottom here. And I'm going to see something here with the retracement tool. We have this C here, came up. And if we pull it back to around this area, I think the target is, again, the target is, that helps to confirm. That's another way of confirming that here's my target area. Based on the Fibonacci's. And here's a rally. It's basing in here, and it's going to rally again. And then when this thing gets up to the top here, I'm looking at it's coming back down to about this area to retest the moving averages and then probably go up even a little higher still. So this area is done. We're done with this one. We don't really need these right now. We already have our zones figured out. You retested the D. Passed it, checked it, now it's going back up. So this one's done. And now we have this little supply zone here where it came back up, rally, it based, it's rallying again. It's going to come back and retest this base area. Well, I don't know that for sure, but that was my projection. And still no alerts.
No, there isn't. What is the time? Is the market open yet?
It just opened up. It's just opening right now. Looks like the market's opening higher today.
Is that
All right, I'm gonna step away for just a couple minutes, take a quick
Okay.
little break, get a
All right.
coffee, and then I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, we'll give this market a few minutes to open up and see if we get any type of reaction or any type of alert off of the market open today. We'll see what happens with that.
sounds good? I think I might go get a hot drink. I'm frozen.
I'll tell you, let's go on break for about 5 or 10 minutes and then we'll come back. Let's see how things go. I'll put the break sign up and we'll take a break.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Go back to sharing my charts. Welcome back. We're not going to be going too much longer today. Things are still kind of slow. We still haven't received any alerts that I can see. We can see that this thing pulled back out, came back up near our target, didn't get into our target. Now it's back into this basing retest zone here that we had. So we had a nice little move up, came back, broke the wedge, came back up, gave us about 9 to 10 pips, came back in. Now it's retesting this area right in here. This was actually where it broke the first time. Now it's coming back to retest the 62, the 30-minute 62, which is pretty much right here. This is the zone I'm looking at to see if it can hold or not. It may wig down, come back up, and maybe start looking for another opportunity to take it long again. But right now, I'm going to be pretty much staying clear of this one for right now. And let's see, let's take a look at the Euro US just real quick before we go. It's the same story with the Aussie. Came back out, broke a wedge, came back up, hit it, or basically got up to our second target pretty much, and now it's retracing back again. So again, this one's pretty much done as well. Let's take a look at the Euro US just to see if there's anything developing on that since the US market's now open. And we're going to go to a 50-minute chart. We'll redraw a wedge on this. We'll see where our trend lines are. Go to higher time frames so we see what our references have been. And I can see that off my 1 hour time frame, I have a hit. Came back up here, hit, respected it. That was the third hit. We started all the way back here. Here's the anchor. Here's the hit. Here's the third hit to confirm it. The trend line held, and now it's looking to see if it's going to reconfirm the lower trend line, which was all the way back here. Here is the anchor. Here we have the first hit. This could almost be considered the third hit, but it's also the same wedge. I'd like to see it come back to retest pretty much down to this area. This is not confirmed yet. We're going to tweak this down just a little bit here. I'm going to unlock it. We tweak it down to this pivot right there. I'm going to repivot. We got it. I'm going to use this as my second hit. This is the area of my second hit. I'm just still going to hold this here. I'm going to lock it again. Checking that. So right now it's trading inside this zone. This one's done. This one's done. All these are done right here. And we're looking for a fresh start. We're keeping our major trend lines still in play. They haven't been breached yet, or this one's been validated. This one hasn't been validated yet. And so right now we're just looking to see what it's going to give us inside this region to give us a reason to take it one way or the other. But as long as it's in this middle zone right now, we want some sort of confirmation. There is a little bit of a drop wedge right here and coming back to retest. We're getting a little bit of a nice little price action on this. If I measure the price action, we go from the start. We have a move, nice move down, comes back up, retests. It hit our one. So this is a drop, base drop. So I'm looking at to maybe retest this area, and they give us something down the road here for right now. But this is what we're looking. That's on a 1 hour chart. Go to a 30-minute and see what it looks like on a 30-minute. Looks a little bit better, and you have some nice little moves here. This is probably from here to here. We have 60 pips. Let's see if it's following any of our fib zones. And if we move it to a 5-minute, we have a 5-minute chart here. Move it to a 15-minute chart and see where it's trading inside which fib zones is it ranging in. The strong move down was between the green and the red, a little basing. We may get another move from the green to the red, from the red to the red, or from the, basically it's covering two of these zones. So it pulled back into the middle of this one. And it may go down to the next, I would say maybe the green or the middle of the green one. It could be looking at this, but we need to have some sort of confirmation that we want to be trading inside the middle of this range. Our strength meter is probably as good as anything. Strength to the downside for the euro on the 5 minute. And if we could look at the retracement off of this move. And you can just follow this along and just see how close these come. When you see this type of pattern, see if you can find out where the bounce is going to be. I would suspect it's going to bounce off of this range right in here. Went from the middle of this blue to red. Now it goes from down to the red to about, it seems like it's changing about 2 zones, pulls back a half a zone, goes back 2 zones. So from here, it might even come back down to this area right in here as it keeps trending on down. Any questions? And if not, we will shut this thing down in about another 3 minutes.
No.
And appreciate everybody coming in. Hope you learned something today. Hope you made a little bit of money today. Hope you didn't lose too much today.
Oh, we learn something every day, Al. That's for sure.
Yeah. And the thing is, there's lots of ways of looking at these things. What you want to do is train your eyes to see the patterns. That's the key thing. Train your eyes to see the patterns and then see what kind of tools do we have that will help you to support what you're learning, what your eyes are telling you. So that's about the best thing I could say to do. You have a nice little, starting to get a nice little trend developing here. Strong move down, pull back. So right now we have a high, a low, a lower high. This is starting to form a wedge on this right now. And so you can start drawing a wedge. You can start drawing a wedge right off of that. Here's the high, the low, lower high. Flatten it out and see if you make a lower low. Take that back. Take this away. We have a potential target down here. If it breaks this will be the potential target, because then that says this has a low, a high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and may keep on cycling down. As this one's cycling down, there's a high, a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Retest this high, and now let's make another run. And on that note, we're going to say goodbye and see everybody tomorrow. Thanks for coming.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Have a good evening, day, guys.
Bye.
Bye.